want to talk about Haiden Deegan. Okay, I want to talk about his career this far in the pros, right? SX runner-up, big deal. That's huge for the rookie for sure. But I also want to talk about his pro motocross, because that's what's happening right now. Like right now, pro motocross is live. We're watching the 2023 season unfold, and I'm just gonna give you guys my thoughts on Haiden Deegan. Now, I think he is astounding. All right, I feel like he's done a lot for a rookie. He's shown consistency. He's shown like a go get it attitude, a level head, if anything. Like he can have a bad moto, a bad race, a bad day, and he seems a little disappointed, but he doesn't really like feed into it too much, right? He feeds the good thoughts of like, I want this, I'm gonna be in it. But I want to talk about how he's doing 7 races into the pro motocross championship that he's out there running, because Hunter is a true threat. Hunter honestly is the pick, right? Like if you said who's gonna go out there and win it, you really aren't gonna pick Haiden Deegan. You're gonna pick Hunter Lawrence, because the kid he's skilled, right? And I guess he's really not a kid at this point, being a 24-year-old on the 250s. I think this is probably his last year on 250s, but either way, this is about Hunter, right? I mean, this is about Haiden. I think like what we're seeing in Haiden is him at his best right now, today, as a rookie, 100% as a rookie. His consistency blows a lot of other riders out of the water. Like when we talk about just this weekend, when he was at Millville was sort of a not the best day. He had some good starts. He faded to like 5th in Moto 1. There's a lot of skilled riders out there. I mean, the 250 class is stacked. What do you expect, right? You can't really have an off day in that class, because anybody's going to jump up and take it. Like, Jo Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, Justin Cooper. There's plenty of names out there that he's really having to contend with. But I talked about this in my Moto Talk Millville. I'm going to talk about it again in a little more detail. It's just what I feel, right? Okay. Haiden Deegan is at this level of consistency, and that's a really high level of consistency, right? Like if there was a bar here, you'd be like, yeah, he's up there. He's very consistent, right? He's not washing out every moto. He's not crashing every day that he races. He's very consistent. You can about count on him to be top 10, or at least work his way into top 10, or be no further back than that. But what I think I'm seeing, okay, my opinion, is names like Jo Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, Justin Cooper, even Tom Vialle up there, Hampshire. These are true, contenders, right? And what Haiden has on these guys that they don't have is Hayden's a rookie, they're not. That's really the only big difference in this. I feel like they all have really good skill. They're all really good riders. They're all really fast. But Haiden started out very consistent, very good, and he's maintained that consistency. He's maintained that skill. But I think what we're seeing in this Pro Motocross Championship going on right now is people like RJ, Joe, and Levi Kitchen are getting really comfortable. They weren't at 80%. They weren't at 100%. They were at 80%, and they're moving up. They're getting better. They're being a little more consistent. They're showing the true speed, because I think raw speed, Haiden doesn't have raw speed. He's got raw consistency. I would pick Jo Shimoda on a good day. I would pick RJ Hampshire on a good day. I would pick, plenty other riders on a good day. They're good days to take out and beat Haiden at the end of the day. And it's not because Hayden's not good. It's not because Hayden's not fast. Hayden's a rookie. He's warming up to it, right? They're warming up to it, and as they warm up, we're like every weekend we're seeing them be a little bit closer. We're seeing them do a little bit better. Jo Shimoda's been blowing us out of the water, the past 2 weekends, because these past 2 weekends have been the best we've seen Joe in the most consistent form. And now that Joe's been showing up, he's actually looking good. No, he's not beating Hunter Lawrence, but he's been beating Haiden with firsts or seconds or thirds. Like, he's been beating Haiden over the last 2 weekends, and Hayden's got that overall. Haiden tasted the red plate. He's proved that he's there, but I don't think he's quite to their level yet. That's something that's only going to come with time in pro motocross. That's something that's only going to come with time in pro, the supercross side. And I think Haiden is a better supercross rider right now. But we got to keep in mind, I think it's very important that when we talk supercross, Haiden was on the East Coast. When we talk about East Coast typically isn't the best side of things, right? We're not looking at the best riders on East Coast, right? We're looking at good, great riders on East Coast, but West Coast is normally where we see our faster riders, where we have the top of the echelon when it comes to the 250 class. So, not taking anything from Haiden whatsoever. I just think the competition was different. Haiden held his own. He did well. He stayed consistent. But we slide over and we look at pro motocross. Now everybody's on the field. Everybody has equal opportunity. 40 bikes on that gate. It drops. There's 10 riders out there that are just as good and better than Haiden. And over time, yes, Hayden's going to be having to kick it up quite a bit, because you don't really say he's going to beat these guys unless he's very consistent and they don't have good starts and they this, that, and the other. And it's a lot of different things that go into it, right? You can't just say, well, you got to be fast to win. Well, you do, but you got to be consistent to win as well. You got to show up every weekend as well. And I think as we're watching this Pro Motocross Championship push forward, Haiden most definitely has what it takes to stay up there, but he's going to have to level up that speed. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it right out the gate, but he's going to be relying on people like RJ, Levi, Joe, Tom to not have good starts, to not have good races for him to maintain. Because if there's anything that we've seen at Southwick, if there's anything that we've seen at Millville, is that there's a lot of heat out there. And it's not that they want it more than he does. They just know it better than he does. All that time he's had on the bike doesn't quite prepare him for what the pros really feel like, especially in outdoors. I know a lot of people who are big, super big Haiden fans were like, yeah, he's going to murder it. He's going to be amazing. He's going to beat him out. And I think he did. I think he did great the first 4 or 5 races. And now we see him kind of leveling out. I haven't seen him really progress. He doesn't look like he's gotten any faster. He's killing it. Don't get me wrong. He's killing it. But he hasn't really gotten any faster. But you're seeing other people who are like, they're warming into the mode. They've got more time in that situation. As the championship runs down, these guys have been out there longer. It's taking them longer to warm up, but they're catching up to Haiden, and Hayden's just kind of maintaining where he's at, which is perfectly fine. But I think that's what we need to see from Haiden moving forward, is like he's gonna have to get better to really contend with this 250 class, because we know that there's a lot of talent in there. I'm not gonna say Pierce Brown, Max Volan are going to be riders that he's going to have to fight, but at some point, Pierce Brown, Max Volan, Austin Forkner, Seth Hammaker, there's so many riders in that class that definitely do have the grit. They do have the potential. They stay healthy. They stay on that seat. They get the time in. Hayden's going to struggle, whether Hunter's out there or not. And if Hunter leaves, he still has to deal with some riders. Justin Cooper leaves, he still has to deal with a really nasty 250 field of riders who are very, very capable of taking a championship. Now, these are all just my opinions. I'm just rambling on about it, but I just wanted to talk because I feel like Haiden definitely does have that potential. We're going to see him grow. He's going to get better, but you got to remember, there are other riders out there that are still yet going to get better. We can almost count that they're just not going to be as consistent as Haiden. King of consistency, and what a great mental attitude. I know a lot of people say that Haiden is cocky, big-headed. I don't see that. I don't see him being cocky. I don't see him being big-headed. I see him knowing what he wants and shooting for the goal, but I don't think he presses it. I don't think he pushes himself, but so hard. I think he's smart about it. I think he's being wise. I think he wants to win. But we know riders who go in, especially rookies, pushing a little bit harder than they need to, make a lot of mistakes. We could talk about, in my opinion, Jalek Swoll is definitely one of those guys who seems like he's always on that cusp of being a good rider, but he tends to make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes lead to injuries. Wrong place, wrong time, awareness on the track. So Jalek Swoll is most definitely somebody who was a rookie at one point that has been in here for about 2 to 3 years now, and I'm not saying Jalek Swoll's going to do anything. I don't know if he's going to settle it down, but I will tell you that Haiden Deegan is definitely going to have to keep on working on his form, his fashion, and everything, because people like RJ, people like Joe, people like Max, people like Pierce, people like Levi, people like Tom, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And they're going to be in front of Haiden before he knows it, because he's consistent. But those guys, once they get that consistency out there, he's really going to be dealing with this for the next couple of years. So I don't know if we're going to see Haiden really push to be outdoor national champion next year, Supercross champion next year. I don't know, because you look at this talent that we actually have in the 250 class, it's going to be slim that it's going to be him. And that doesn't even count who else could really come on the scene. So my thought, Hayden's got it. He's smart. He's consistent. He's got some work to do. But he's going to have to really be looking over his shoulder, or he's going to be looking at the rear fender of the other guys for sure. So that's really all I have to say about the Haiden conversation that I have going on. Guys, I would love to hear your thoughts and what you think about Haiden. Being realistic too. Like I'm not saying just because you love the guy, you gotta say he's going to be the best there ever was. That's not what this is about. This is about what you see week in over weekend. And what I see week in over weekend is he stayed right here. But the other guys are catching up, and they're starting to be a little bit better than him. So he's going to have to turn it around real quick. Guys, mad love, big vibes. I want to hear what you have to say, and I'll see you on the flip side. Adios.